tonight on CTV News at 6. Watching the water, a flood warning for the Lake Nipissing shoreline. It helps people who are hungry.
The challenge they faced was that we were walking in water almost over top of our shoes, and it kept coming in. We couldn't stop it.
A food bank in Sudbury is a victim of flooding. And it's been around for almost 100 years.
We're down to less than 10 people, and they're a dedicated group.
This United Church in Sudbury is about to close its doors.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you're with us on this Thursday. We're learning about 2 mill closures in the region. Interfor has confirmed it will be indefinitely curtailing operations in Nairn Centre and Gogama. A spokesperson for the company said in an email to CTV the closures are due to ongoing weak market conditions and U.S. tariffs on softwood lumber, adding, quote, "We recognize the impact this has on our employees, their families, and the broader community. The company was not able to comment on how many employees will be impacted or when the closures will take place." The North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority has issued a flood warning for the Lake Nipissing shoreline in North Bay and Callander. Water is slowly rising on Lake Nipissing, and the Conservation Authority says significant snowpack remains in the northern areas of the watershed. Right now, the lake is about 36 centimeters below the highest daily average recorded in 2019, a year that also saw flooding. The Conservation Authority is expecting little rain, allowing water to drain through the watershed, which leads to a drop in local creeks and rivers.
If we continue to have a dry period of time, this water can drain. The snow that's still in the northern reaches of the Lake Nipissing watershed can continue to melt without additional moisture from rainfall, and that'll be good.
The Conservation Authority has also issued a flood watch for the Mattawa River downstream of the Herdman Dam. And we're getting a look at the dam and Sturgeon River in Sturgeon Falls tonight, courtesy of Neil Brown. The dam is mostly open to allow water through from the northern end of the watershed. Flooding is creating problems for residents, with several road closures still in effect north of Sturgeon Falls in Field. Highway 64, Leduc Road, Prieur Street, and Ashburton Road are all closed, along with LaPointe Road in Crystal Falls. Flood warnings and a state of emergency remain in effect for those areas. The township of Billings on Manitoulin Island is still under a state of emergency, but can breathe a little easier. According to Mayor Brian Barker, water levels have subsided since last week when the state of emergency was declared. A few homes had to be evacuated due to rising water, and those people have not returned to their homes yet. The mayor says area roads have been temporarily repaired, but proper repairs will still need to be done after water levels are back to normal.
What is still very, very critical is the river below Bridal Veil Falls. It's very, very dangerous. Most of our tourist trails have been washed away or severely damaged, and there's still quite a bit of high water and flooding and dangerous currents down there. So we're asking people to still be respectful and pay attention to our no trespassing signs and stay out of that area.
That closure is expected to last through the smelt season and could impact the upcoming tourist season. The falls are a major attraction for the area, and Barker says they don't yet know the condition of the tourist trails or if they'll be usable this season. The mayor adds the state of emergency won't be lifted until water levels have subsided and the township can assess the damage from the flooding. Meanwhile, some in French River are seeing a slight drop in water levels, others increases. Peter Rysdale and his family have owned Mishaw Falls cottages on Dry Pine Bay since he was a small boy.
Well, as you can see, the water's extremely high. I think we've only had this one other year in 2019. There's really not much we can do about it. Our property's not really sandbaggable, and we just deal with it. And whatever gets ruined in the high water, we fix.
The Rydales estimate water is up at least a foot, likely more, and has swallowed up some property alongside their work shed. Equipment had to be removed from the shed after water got under the floor. Other parts of French River have noticed a drop in water levels, but officials are still urging people to be prepared. A lot of the water the municipality will see still has to make its way down from Lake Nipissing. OPP have released photographs of a rescue of 2 people from a flooded road last week as a reminder to steer clear of the water. Provincial police near Sault Ste. Marie were called in after 2 people got stuck in deep floodwaters on Mile 28 road just off of Highway 17 in Goulet River. The road was washed out and the vehicle quickly became submerged. The 2 occupants climbed out of the roof of the truck and were rescued by Goulet River Fire and Rescue and Sault Search and Rescue. Police are reminding everyone to stay off flooded and closed roads as the conditions could worsen or the road beneath the floodwater could be deteriorated. Evacuations in Kashechewan and Moose Cree First Nations are underway after flood warnings near the James Bay coast. CTV's Lydia Chubak has that story.
It's been nearly 4 months since a water and sewage crisis forced hundreds of Kashechewan First Nation members out of their homes. Around 500 members are in the community, with more than half out on the land for spring hunting. Last week, another round of evacuations began due to concerns over flooding.
We've been told that it's not a flood watch, it's a flood outlook, I guess, with the reports that we're getting. MNR is saying that it's a high risk for this year. So we've initiated last week to kind of get the vulnerable community members out of the community, and it's mandatory for families that are still there to be flown out.
Crews are monitoring river conditions, ice thickness, and consulting with traditional knowledge keepers.
We don't want to take unnecessary risks for our people, and it is high this year. It is worrisome.
Flooding worries are compounded by Kashechewan's water filtration and sewage systems, which remain under repair. Wesley says residents may be able to return home as early as July, but he warns that timeline is uncertain.
They're just uncovering more and more things that need to be fixed, so that's what's taking time. Plus, to dig up the earth at this time where the mainline valves is quite challenging due to the weather.
Meanwhile, Moose Cree First Nation is also in the process of evacuating its members for the first time ever.
You know, their emergency control group that we're working with here daily, like what a group. They've really stepped up and have done a tremendous job for their first time having to deal with this evacuation.
Surrett says around 700 people will be flown out, half going to Barrie and the rest to another municipality soon to be determined.
Understanding that the MNRF is going to start to fly the river starting tomorrow. They're going to start monitoring the river. The usual process that they do. They're anticipating some warm temperatures.
Moose Cree First Nation is located on an island in the Moose River, while Kashechewan sits on the Albany River, both flowing into James Bay. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
So with so much flooding, a lot of people are watching the water. Any more rain in the forecast? With that answer, here's CTV's Rick Wyman.
Thanks, Tony. We do have some precipitation. As you can see, the system moving in according to our systems map, and from Environment Canada, some snow to the north, precipitation to the south. We'll start seeing some of the effects by late tomorrow afternoon, early evening in the forecast, and then we'll get a bit of a break, some sunny skies, and then more rain in the forecast by Tuesday, 40%. Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, we will get some precipitation, some milder temperatures over the course of the next couple of days. So at least we'll get some enjoyment. And again, the forecast is not calling for extensive amounts of precipitation, and that's a good sign. We'll have further details coming up just a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes away with our current temperatures.
Thanks for that, Rick. While warmer weather is expected in the next few days, flood warnings in the city of Greater Sudbury remain in effect around several waterways. Along the Vermilion River, Larchmont Drive, Centennial Park, Grassy Lake Road, Panage Lake Road, and Desmarais Road are under a flood warning despite water levels falling since the start of the week. Also under a warning tonight are the Onaping River in Dowling and Lower Junction Creek, which includes Simon Lake, Mud Lake, and McCharles Lake. Flooding and elevated water levels are expected on this section of Junction Creek and the Vermilion and Onaping Rivers for another week or more. Valcarin and Chelmsford remain under a warning along the Whitson River, and the Flour Mill and Nickeldale areas of the city along Junction Creek are now under a flood warning. It's called rightsizing, still to come on CTV News at 6. Some parents in Greater Sudbury don't like what's happening to their neighborhood school. Right now, though, we're heading to Algonquin Park, and this live webcam is courtesy of the Friends of Algonquin Park. It's 13 degrees in Whitney. We will return after this commercial break.
Country 91.7.
Texas, I can tell.
Sudbury's home for the best country music. Listen for your chance to win $50,000 with Pure Country's big $50K payday.
A flood has temporarily closed the new Sudbury location of a food bank. It happened Tuesday, and now the food bank will operate out of its downtown location until repairs are made. CTV's Alana Everson reports.
The water has been pumped out, but the damage is done. Repairs are now needed before the new Sudbury location of the Inner City Food Bank can reopen.
The challenge they faced was that we were walking in water almost over top of our shoes, and it kept coming in. We couldn't stop it. The rugs were all just sopping wet and started to smell musty.
Canned goods are okay, but perishables needed to be moved quickly. Clients of the new Sudbury location will now be temporarily served at 251 Elm Street.
We don't waste anything. That is going to go downtown to Elm Street, and with our people from here being relocated, there's still a need for the food we have here, but it's unfortunate. We opened this place because the new Sudbury people had a real distance to get down to Elm Street.
Drago says the need for food assistance increases daily.
Minimum wage, and they have 2 or 3 children. It's impossible with minimum wage to look after a family. They have to pay rent. We have people living in cars.
Drago says the landlord, the D'Angelo family, is generously covering the costs of the flood repairs, so the food bank can spend money on meeting the growing need of helping people living with food insecurity. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Those northerners dealing with damaged property due to flooding are also navigating the insurance process as they file claims. We get the details now from CTV's Angela Gemmel.
As the repair and rebuilding process begins, we will continue to keep everybody updated. But as for now, that's all we have to tell you.
We met Adam Smith last week when he was working to keep the main level of his business from flooding. Excess creek water overflowed into the streets in Mindemoya.
We actually went so far as to start removing some sandbags today, so that's a step in the right direction. Every day is an improvement, and the cleanup process has started.
Smith says the most impacted was the basement at Jake's Home Center, where floodwater destroyed hundreds of thousands of dollars of product being stored there. Smith met with an insurance adjuster today who assessed the damage and made a plan moving forward.
And to see some of the challenges that we particularly face here, because we're not half an hour away from a major center. So a lot of the decisions are being made in places that don't really know where Manitoulin Island is. So they've got to be able to kind of show that logistics are a little bit more challenging.
It's unclear when the insurance claim could be paid out.
We're still in the early stages, even just figuring out what's salvageable, what's not salvageable. So it'll be a while.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says it won't know for another month how many insurance claims could be filed connected to spring flooding in Ontario. But the Director of Consumer Relations advises flood victims to record all damages and keep all receipts connected to cleanup.
The more information that you can provide your insurance company about your situation, whether that's photographs, video, receipts, all of that sort of information, the more quickly an insurance company can settle your claim.
Smith says he's optimistic about the situation, saying anything destroyed by the flooding can be replaced. And he's appreciative of all the help he's received from the Mindamoya and Manitoulin community. Angela Gamel, CTV News, Sudbury.
One person was taken to hospital following a house fire yesterday in Elliott Lake. It happened in the 100 block of West Hill Road just before 11 a.m. On arrival, fire crews saw visible smoke, and officials say they were able to put out the fire fairly quickly. 2 family pets were lost, and the home has extensive smoke damage. No word yet on a cause. Fire Chief John Thomas also reminding the public that smoke alarms are critical in saving lives. Almost $69,000 in drugs were seized as part of an ongoing investigation by Sudbury police. The Drug Enforcement Unit say they concluded an investigation into people believed to be trafficking drugs in the city. Warrants were executed for locations on St. Anne's Road and Louis Street. During the search of the St. Anne's residence, police found cocaine, fentanyl, other drugs, and cash, and arrested 2 men for trafficking and other charges. No drugs were found at the Louis Street location. However, 2 people in the residence were wanted on outstanding warrants and were arrested. Parents are expressing concerns surrounding the right-sizing of Levack Public School that could see an entire wing demolished. A petition has been launched in hopes of halting the plans. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Dana Littlejohn is the Parent Council Chair at Levack Public School. She says when students left last June, they expected to return to yard improvements, but didn't.
The answer was we're due to be right-sized. And so because we're due to be right-sized, no other upgrades can occur until we're right-sized.
According to a letter sent to parents by the Rainbow District School Board, the board approved a motion in 2019 to right-size the school, pending Ministry of Education approval. Levack Public School is currently operating at 39% capacity. The school, which was built as a high school, is able to accommodate 351 students, but enrollment is currently below 135. Littlejohn says the proposed demolition would see an entire wing of the school taken down.
Our school's kind of an odd shape, so it creates a square, and then there's this little wing that branches off of it. But in the main of our rectangle, we have a full-size staff lounge because it was a high school. We have a full-size cafeteria, full-size gym, full-size library. It's not a lot of classroom real estate that would be left.
CTV reached out to Magic Triangle, which operates the daycare based in the school, for comment, but did not receive a response. The Ministry of Education also received multiple requests from our newsroom that went unanswered.
Lots of our community had no idea that our school is even on proposed right-sizing, which was kind of unfortunate.
Littlejohn says she has started a petition that Nickel Belt MPP France Gélina will bring to the Legislative Assembly in early May. The petition, which already has over 400 signatures, urges the government and the board to halt any right-sizing or demolition plans and to support the continuation of previously planned school repairs, upgrades, and capital work. The letter from the board also says no work is scheduled to take place this school year. At this time, discussions with the ministry are ongoing. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
And folks, a collision has been reported this evening in Coppercliff. Godfrey Drive between Graham Street and Serpentine Street is closed while police investigate. For the latest on this developing story, visit our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. Back now for a check on your current conditions. Here's Rick.
Not a bad night in Northeastern Ontario. Tony, we'll get to those numbers momentarily. System moving in by late tomorrow afternoon, early evening. A little bit of precipitation, then we'll get a bit of a break. We've got some sunshine, and a couple of days later, we'll get more rain. Here we go with our current numbers. Beginning as always in Moosonee -1, Cochrane sun and cloud at 5, Timmins mainly cloudy at 5 as well, Kapuskasing cloudy skies at 7 degrees. Right now 6 in Chapleau with the clouds, Wawa sun and cloud, Sault Ste. Marie cloudy skies at 14. Moving on over to Parry Sound, sun and cloud at 17, nice night there. Here we go, 10 degrees in North Bay, some sun and cloud. Mainly cloudy in Temiskaming Shores, the odd sunny break at 10. Kirkland Lake, we've got some sun and cloud at 8 as well. Greater Sudbury, 14, some sun, some cloud. A lot of cloud earlier today in the forecast. Espanola, sun and cloud, 17. 19 in Elliott Lake, some sun and cloud. Gore Bay, we've got sun and cloud at 17. So all in all, nice variation of temperatures. Not a bad night in Northeastern Ontario, probably better tonight than what we'll get tomorrow night. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with your 7-day forecast and the pick of the day. Tony?
Thanks, Rick. Mangled mess next on CTV News at 6. Several people were injured after 2 trains collided head-on just north of Copenhagen, Denmark. Lebanon and Israel are set to begin a second session of direct talks in Washington with the aim of extending a truce between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. That ceasefire is set to expire on Sunday. Both Lebanon and Israel's ambassadors to the U.S. are supposed to attend the meeting. The talks come after deadly Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon Wednesday. The strikes killed a Lebanese journalist and 4 other people, making it the deadliest day since the 10-day ceasefire was announced last Thursday. Meantime, renewed peace talks between Iran and the United States is still in question. Pakistan had planned to host another round of talks, but the White House canceled the vice president's trip. Iran rejected efforts to restart the talks, accusing the Americans of a lack of good faith in negotiations, citing the U.S. blockade as an obstacle to talks. The president has vowed to keep the blockade in place despite extending the ceasefire this week. Adding to the rising tensions, the U.S. military says it seized another tanker involved in smuggling Iranian oil. The Majestic X was captured in the Indian Ocean. Iran targeted 3 ships yesterday, capturing 2 of them. 17 people have been injured, 5 of them critically, after 2 trains collided just outside Copenhagen. 38 people were on board the trains that collided head-on this morning, about 40 kilometers north of the Danish capital. Local police say it's too early to say what caused the crash. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada needs to be well prepared on all of the trade issues between Canada and the United States as the upcoming review of the CUSMA trade agreement looms ever closer.
There are a series of trade issues between the countries. Most of the issues have been raised by the United States, either in terms of things they want to see changed in Canada. There are a series of tariff measures the United States has put in place which are in violation of the existing agreement. The tariffs on steel, the tariffs on aluminum, the tariffs on automobiles, the tariffs on forest products. Those are not consistent with the existing agreement.
The current trade agreement between Canada and the United States and Mexico is up for renewal July 1st, and Prime Minister Carney says there are 2 parties when it comes to negotiating with the United States, adding that Canada is not taking instruction from Washington. There was a lot of scrutiny, but the Ford government passed its spring budget. The legislation has faced criticism over changes to freedom of information laws, which will allow the Premier and his cabinet to keep all their office records secret. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the latest.
Anger across the aisle as MPPs pass Ontario's 2026 budget. A budget with a tax cut for small business, a cap on ticket resale prices, and more money for home care. But tucked inside, a dramatic, retroactive change to freedom of information laws.
This is a budget that is about protecting the Premier and his phone records, because guess what? We all know that this Premier has been up to something.
The overhaul will keep phone records from the Premier, ministers, and their staff secret. It comes after a court ordered Doug Ford to turn them over. He insists
95% of all information will be able to FOI.
Is that the 5% that is related to the RCMP investigation of the $8.3 billion Greenbelt scandal? Is that 5% related to how the government's using the Skills Development Fund as their own personal piggy bank?
The finance minister argues this is about matching Ontario with other provinces and the federal government.
The Westminster model on cabinet confidentiality is critical.
He already knows that there's cabinet confidentiality. He's trying to pull one over on everybody.
The anger in question period didn't only come from the opposition benches.
Why does this Premier who claims to be accountable make it so very hard to hold.
Do you know why the members down here? Because CP24 didn't want her anymore, bottom line. Yeah, it hurts, doesn't it? It hurts when you aren't wanted. There's a reason why you're here.
An outburst that some opposition leaders think demands an apology.
That is beneath the office of the Premier, an office that he's privileged to hold.
I think it's just another example that the Premier's out of control.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
It's like days of our lives down at Queen's Park there, Tony. Lots of shouting going on, all kinds of stuff. Let's check out our weather forecast and take a break for just a couple of minutes here. Here we go with our forecast radar. System moving in by tomorrow evening, as you can clearly see, by about 4 o'clock, about an hour away from supper time, you'll see that system move ahead, and then it'll continue into the early hours and then go. Bit of sunshine for a couple of days and more rain in the forecast. We'll get to that. Overnight conditions, partly cloudy, greater Sudbury. More of the same in Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins. Chance of showers to Miskaming Shores and North Bay. Chance of showers as well. Here we go. Moosonee, cloudy skies. Did I spell that differently? Kapuskasing, Hearst, partly cloudy. Wawa, partly cloudy. Increasing cloud, Gore Bay and Perry Sound. Chance of showers. Here we go now with your 7-day numbers. Sudbury, Nickel Belt, mainly sunny at 10. Chance of showers on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine 16. 17 on Monday as well with the sunshine. Tuesday, chance of rain, more of the same on Wednesday. 11 and 10, your daytime highs, so you do get a bit of a break from that precipitation. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma. Mainly sunny skies for tomorrow at 11. Chance of showers on Saturday at 30%, also 11. 15 Sunday, sun and cloud. Monday, sun and cloud at 14. Some nice days there. Periods of rain Tuesday, Wednesday, 9 and 7 on the cool down. Below normal for this time of the year. Normally you should be sitting at around 11 in the Sioux and Algoma. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Sunshine tomorrow, 10 degrees, 12 degrees Saturday, some sun and cloud, more of the same Sunday, sun and cloud at 16, all the way up to 17 on Monday, sun and cloud. That's a nice streak of 4 consecutive days. Chance of rain, 40% Tuesday and Wednesday, 12 and 8, your daytime highs. Normally, you should be sitting at around 11. To Miskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, sunshine tomorrow at 10, 13 Saturday, sun and cloud. Sunshine Sunday at 16, 18 Monday, loads of sunshine there. We've got the chance of rain Tuesday and Wednesday. That's pretty well a roadmap as to what we can expect next week right across the Northeast. The chance of rain at about 40% for a day or two. 13 and 10, your expected highs. And you're closer to your normal at 11 degrees for this time of the year. I mean, after all, we are approaching May. North Bay, West Nipissing, mainly sunny tomorrow at 12, 13 on Saturday, sun and cloud. Sunday, sunshine, 16, 18 even better Monday with the sunshine. And of course, we've got rain Tuesday and Wednesday once again, 40% both days. Your expected highs at 12 and 10. A sure sign that spring is just about to roll in for good. Take a look at your evening temperatures now, 5, 7, 5 degrees. That's looking awfully good, and it can only get warmer as we approach into May. Let's have a look at our pick of the day. We talked about groundhogs at the beginning of February. Jimmy Aldred sends this in from Tarswell. Had to look that up on the map there, Jim. I wasn't too sure about the location. The first groundhog of the season. Thank you so much. I love groundhogs. They're never right when it comes to the weather because I am. Saying goodbye to a nearly 100-year-old church is closing its doors in Sudbury. Amanda Hicks has that story coming up.
Tickets for the FIFA World Cup games in Toronto start June 12th. It's difficult to find seats for the 6 matches, and if you do, they're expensive. Officials say the best way to buy and sell tickets and avoid being scammed is to stick to the tournament's official online marketplace. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Vanessa Polakeni and her husband Paul Vella of Concord are huge soccer fans and were very excited about the chance to see a World Cup match. She entered a lottery and in October was able to buy 4 tickets.
Unfortunately, when we did purchased those tickets, Toronto was already sold out, so we went with Boston.
Polokani bought the tickets for her husband and 2 friends for just over $1,700. They later discovered the match would be Haiti versus Scotland and made the decision to sell the tickets and use the funds to try and see a game in Toronto. To avoid scams, they used FIFA's official marketplace.
We did post them on December 16th, all 4 tickets, and they sold within minutes.
The tickets rose in price, and FIFA takes a 15% commission on ticket resales from the buyer and seller, but Polokani was to receive just over $3,000. The website states it could take up to 60 days to receive your funds, but after 3 months and countless calls and emails, Polokani says she has no idea when or if she'll get her money back.
I really don't know what is going on, and I'm just very disappointed. Now we have no tickets, and we have no refund.
CTV News also reached out to FIFA with calls and emails, but we did not get a response. However, fans in other countries have faced similar delays in getting refunds. Days after we contacted FIFA, Polokani says the money appeared in her bank account. She's been refunded the $3,000 and says it's a relief. She hopes to use the money to help her husband see a World Cup game in Toronto for his birthday.
Thank you so much to CTV. Like I said, I'm really appreciative of a platform like this, and I hope he gets to go, and we'll be using that money definitely towards those tickets.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Authorities are warning people about a new high-tech cybercrime using an SMS blaster, a tool not seen before in Canada. CP24's Courtney Heels has more on a Toronto police investigation that brought this technology to light.
The way it works, police allege the criminals were driving around the Greater Toronto area and using this device to connect to cell phones in the area. They say the device mimics cell phone towers, so they had the ability to send text messages to people with their cell phones, and the information would look like it was coming from a reputable organization. For example, someone may receive a text message and it looks like it's coming from their bank, or receive a text message that suggests that they have an overdue parking ticket. They click on a link and then that information becomes vulnerable. We heard from police talking about the reach of this device. Here's more.
We believe tens of thousands of devices connected to the blaster over several months. We also identified more than 13 million network disruptions where devices were unable to properly connect to legitimate cell towers. That's significant because during those moments, access to services like 911 could be impacted.
So 3 people are now facing very serious charges connected to the use of these devices. They say that 2 of them are from Markham, 1 from Hamilton. 2 individuals were actually arrested 3 weeks ago, and a 3rd individual turned himself in. Again, the message is out there to the public to be aware that these devices are out there. They say they don't know exactly how many victims there are in this case, but again, they just want people to be very, very careful.
And that was Courtney Heels reporting. A drug that was touted in the early fight against COVID is being re-examined by Canadian researchers now. And we get the details from CTV's Pauline Chan.
Paxlovid is an antiviral that was funded by Canadian authorities early in the COVID-19 pandemic.
Seemed to reduce death and hospitalization in a mostly unvaccinated kind of population, and also with people who were a bit higher risk.
But now with most Canadians vaccinated at least once,
we did this to really see, is this medication having the same impact now in a much more vaccinated population, also people who have had developed some natural immunity by getting infected themselves. And really what we found in this was that it didn't have an impact on hospitalizations and death, although it did find that that people actually recovered a little bit earlier when they took this medication.
Dr. Andrew Pinto says cost is a big factor in assessing Paxlovid's future role.
Retail, it's about $1,400, which is a very expensive amount for an infection which most people have a short-term illness from and then recover.
But the role of vaccines is somewhat unclear. We don't know exactly how long their protective strength lasts. Uptake has slowed dramatically, plus the virus is still mutating. Paxlovid continues to be covered with different criteria in each province.
In Ontario, if you meet the criteria, which are, for example, people who are 65 and older, who have a test that which can be a rapid antigen test or a PCR test that shows that you have COVID.
But with little evidence now of it reducing hospitalizations or deaths.
This will be something that the Ministry of Health makes a decision. They'll look at all of the evidence carefully and decide kind of, is this a good use of public funding?
It could be that funding is reserved for only those at the highest risk. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Officials at the Humane Society in North Bay say they have too many kittens. The Humane Society is looking for more people to adopt a new feline into their home. Cat and kitten season is challenging for the shelter because there's a shortage of accessible and affordable spay and neuter services in the north. The Humane Society normally cares for 20 to 30 kittens on top of all of its adult cats. Officials say the animals often come in with respiratory concerns and parasites. They add down the line, foster homes and forever homes are needed.
We're ready with our imaginary fire hoses to put out the kitten season fire. So we've got people on standby, rescues and agencies in Southern Ontario that are able to help with fostering and with the influx of animals that come from Northern Ontario and the surrounding communities. So we are a little bit better prepared.
The Humane Society says that if someone finds a litter of kittens, do not touch them or pick them up. Their mother is likely nearby. Instead, you're asked to call the Humane Society. It's marking a major milestone. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. Bel Canto Chorus in Sudbury is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year with 3 performances.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
A Sudbury organization is marking a major milestone. Bel Canto Chorus is celebrating a golden anniversary, 50 years. And to tell us more, let's bring in the chairperson of Bel Canto, Catherine Somerville. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony, for having me on your show. And I really appreciate all the community support that we're getting.
50 years, that's incredible when you think about the longevity of an organization. Why is Bel Canto Chorus so successful? What do you think?
Well, people like to sing, and they like to sing together, and they like community. Do you know that we have 3 members who have been in the chorus for 50 years, every Tuesday night? And we have people who have been there 30 years, 40 years, even 50 years, 3 people. So it's long term, yeah.
It is. How is this organization able to stay relevant? How do you determine the themes and also what audiences are looking for?
It's largely up to our musical director, Susan Urquhart, and the collaborative pianist, Dr. Charlene Biggs. They design the program, so they're listening, they get the community vibe, they figure out. I think they hear from choir members as well, but mostly it's the 2 of them that determine the program for each concert, yeah.
And you have your big concerts to celebrate this milestone. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So this is our 50th anniversary year, and we're doing 3 concerts on the weekend of April 30th to May the 3rd. So Thursday and Friday, April 30th and Friday, May the 1st, 7:30 p.m., St. Andrew's United Church, 111 Larch Street. We're doing 50 years of favorites. And so members of the choir were polled and asked what they wanted us to sing and what they wanted to remember. So the program's going to be starting with largely a sacred program, Mozart, John Rutter, the Kyrie from Clausen, and then it's moving to more modern things like Gordon Lightfoot and The Sound of Music, and we're finishing with Freddie Mercury from Queen. And we've got 2 special guests coming that night. Pamela Teed is a gifted soprano in Sudbury, and Al Isarif is a guitarist, and he's going to do some riffs right at the end.
And I understand on Sunday that you have Joey Niceforo coming. He's no stranger to CTV.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. Yes, the choir worked for a year to bring Joey to Sudbury, back to Sudbury. And so he's going to be coming and he's going to be singing some solos. He's going to be doing a bit of solo work. Then he's going to be doing some things with the choir. Nila Fantasia, Funiculi, Funicula, Hallelujah. He's going to be doing some duet work with 3 members of choir and then some small group work as well. And it's going to be a super fun show. We are so excited about it.
I guess so. Catherine, thanks so much for coming in and telling us about your 50th anniversary. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That was Catherine Somerville. She was our guest today. And to learn more about the choral group, head to Bel Canto Chorus.ca. A fixture in Sudbury's Donovan neighborhood for nearly a century is preparing to close its doors. All People's United Church will hold its final service this weekend, marking the end of a 97-year chapter. CTV's Amanda Hicks has that story.
A lot of history in 97 years, that's for sure.
Photos, news clippings, and decades of memories are spread out at Sudbury's All People's United Church. As the congregation prepares for Saturday, they are reflecting on a legacy that began in the 1920s. Mona Campbell has been a part of the church for 65 years, a place where she said, "I do," and where her children were baptized.
Well, you have all kinds of emotions. At my age, I'm kind of looking forward to relaxing a little bit and not being so involved and so on, but it's sad also.
The decision to close was a difficult one. Officials say low attendance, changing neighborhood demographics, and an aging congregation made sustaining the facility impossible.
We're down to less than 10 people, and they're a dedicated group. They're a very loving group. They work really hard, but they're tired. And, you know, what can you do? This is the challenge of life. And many churches are going through these things that they need to finally accept that it's time to move on.
This church has always known how to rebuild. After a devastating fire in the 1940s, the community rallied to ensure the doors would reopen. For Chipka, the church was the setting for his earliest milestones, including being asked to read scripture when he was 8 years old.
Everybody came up, shook my hand, patted me on the back. I felt really good, so it's a real sense of family. And I think that to me says a lot about what church is, or any group, where people get together and share their lives.
The final service will be held this Saturday at 11 a.m. Chipka says while the building will eventually be put up for sale, the congregation hopes a new mission will find a home here to carry the legacy into the future. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
We now have a new NOJHL champion. For the 3rd straight season, the Sudbury Cubs are the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League champions. The Timmins Rock putting up a valiant effort at the MAC last night, pushing Game 4 to overtime, but the Cubs would punch their ticket to the Centennial Cup. We turn to entertainment now with a look at our Hollywood Report.
Clayface is DC Studios' first horror thriller, starring Tom Rhys-Harries as the man who goes from rising Hollywood star to Gotham City villain. The Batman-adjacent movie hits theaters October 23rd.
People speak of Robin Hood, tell us stories. They're all lies.
Hugh Jackman stars in The Death of Robin Hood. The iconic outlaw gets a chance for salvation after a lifetime of crime and murder. The thriller arrives in theaters June 19th.
Have you been horribly injured by a product made by the Acme Corporation?
It's not your fault. There's probably someone to blame.
The name of the case is Coyote versus Acme.
Rather violently switching gears, here's your first look at Coyote versus Acme, with Will Forte as a lawyer just as hapless as his client, and John Cena as the lawyer for the massive company with the combustible product line. The live-action and animation hybrid explodes in theaters August 28th. Meet Meeping in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
With no real movement through the Strait of Hormuz, fuel costs continue to climb, forcing WestJet to raise prices for checked bags. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
Customers will pay an extra $5 to check a bag. And that's only if travelers plan in advance. It takes the price to between $55 and $65. And if you decide to check a bag at the airport, it'll cost between $70 and $94 under the ultra basic ticket. Airlines around the world are grappling with higher fuel costs as a result of the backup of tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.02. West Texas Intermediate is up over $3 to 96.55. Western Canadian Select is up over $2 to 73.05. And the TSX lost 42 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $38.03, closing the day at $46.9631 US an ounce. Silver slipped $2.04 to end the day at $75.59. Copper down 10 cents to $5.95, and nickel up 12 cents, ending the day at $8.38 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Friday weather.
We've got some sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. Tony, let's take a look at some of the temperatures that we can expect. 10, mainly sunny in Greater Sudbury. Timmins also 10 with the sunshine, mainly sunny in Sault Ste. Marie at 11 degrees. How about North Bay? 12, mainly sunny. Slight chance of showers in Parry Sound, 15 degrees. Chance of showers at 30%, and 10 degrees in Temiskaming Shores. With the sunshine, don't forget we've got the chance of precipitation coming up on the weekend, then a few more days of sunshine before the rain rolls back in by about Wednesday, Thursday. Tony?
Thanks for that, Rick. Finally, Spotify is marking its 20th anniversary by revealing what music its users have streamed the most in the last 2 decades. Probably no surprise, the artist in top spot is Taylor Swift. Bad Bunny takes second place in that category and has the #1 album. Canadian artist The Weeknd's Blinding Lights is the most streamed song. In a non-music category, The Joe Rogan Experience is the top podcast in 20 years of Spotify. And folks, that's CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. Thanks so much for watching. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night.